Well, hey, another good morning to you. Let's get some Grandpaw Peter Koyote here, just in case you don't know. Let's get some radiant love going this morning, shall we? Get the old motor pumping here a little bit. Have a little sip of coffee, keep us awake. Or help us awaken, as the case may be. Okay, radiant love, baby. Might as well feel it as just, develop your senses a little bit more, So we're just going to do this. We're going to get a big circle of love going between you and I. It comes in through the crown, out through the root chakra, in through the crown, out through the root chakra. Yeah, just close your eyes there for a minute. Just feel the flow. Through the root chakra, up through your crown, down through my crown, through the root chakra. See how that goes? Big old circle. Radiant light. Love. Radiant love. That's what light is. Radiant love. The love that glows, that shines in the darkness. And without the darkness, you couldn't see it. So that's why we've been through it, It's a repetitive thing. We needed that experience. If you only know light and you've never known darkness, if you've only known love and never felt separate from it, or empty, or cold, or bitter, angry, regret, shame, all of these things, if you've never known them, how can you appreciate the light, the love, the radiant love that you are, that you exist in, that all of creation is made from? See, how can you even feel it if that's all you've ever known? I mean, it's hard to imagine, but just think about that. It gets down to the whys of why we've chosen this experience for ourselves, to bring ourselves into this place of being, this person that we are, and create this experience for ourselves by contract in advance most of the time. In fact, all of the time. I mean, the outcomes are always squirrely. You can go and be and do whatever your soul heart chooses for you. But you're not really making the choices. The soul hearts made those long before you ever arrived here. So you're going through a programmed structure, a pre-programmed structure. Yeah, there's choice. You can divert from the path if you wish and create any experience for yourself that you choose. But the main gist of the life you're living is already set. You already know the outcome before you ever emit into it and become a baby and so forth, come through your mother's womb. You see, and there is a knowledge and an awareness inside that this is so. Inside of yourself. There is this awakening process you're going through by feeling this radiant love and beginning to understand the experience of being separate from it, so that now you can join back together with it. It's like a lover you've lost, the one that really touched your bones, your heart, and caused you to feel the experience. It's like that one has gone away. And it's been so long that the memory of it's faded, it's almost gone, you see. You lost that one love that touched you. And there's been a lot of love since then, in that personal relationship sort of way. But they're gone. You're separate from it. And so while others can touch you to a relative degree, nobody can hit the center of the bones the way they did. So you Remember that. It's been so long now. It's dim. The memory's dim. It's gone through many generations. Many. Since we began this process of birth and life and death. You know, we weren't always in this state. Not even in this extension I call the virtual world. You know, not even there. But we're going back to that now. That lovers come back. And it's time to reconnect with that we've left so far behind. And the love is incredible, of course. But the fear. There's fear, you know. We're like, it's been so long we've forgotten what it's like. We feel it. We feel the ache for it. And we love the person, but it's been so long. What are they like now? You know? It really kind of takes you away. I mean, this fear can cause a lot of imagination to arise and a lot of unusual scenarios to be played out in your head and amplify itself and get bigger. But if we just recognize this fear and see that it's a sensible thing for us to be doing in a relative way. In other words, it's protective. It's a movement of love. You know, it's also kind of self-destructive because it loves the destruction. It's strange fear. But, you know, nothing can be destroyed here. Your life, your light, your love. So the fear is really unfounded. You know, look beyond the virtual game. Remember that radiant love and embrace your lover. Inside of yourself. Embrace your heart. And allow it to open for you. Just go past the fear by loving it and seeing that it is love, and even though it's unfounded, there's some validity to it. Of course you'd have some anxiousness. You've been away from this lover person forever. You know, twin flame, equal heart, whatever you call them. I mean, you know, they've been gone. And the memory of them has dimmed, and you are in a place where now you see them and begin to understand that they're there. You know, your eyes, your heart has trouble comprehending that because you never thought you'd be back together again. You thought you'd always be lonely and morose and sad there underneath the surface. And now it's changing. And that person's back. Yeah. I mean, you know, you want to scope them out. Make sure they're receptive of you. And get yourself back in their heart before you commit body and soul. I want to know where this is going to go, in other words. And that's not an unwise thing. So what you do, you feel it. You let the love tell you what's going to be. Just feel it. You can see the future. You can feel it in your heart. And that heart can open and you can experience it. You can go there. Time's flexible. There's no solidity to it whatsoever. Remember, we're in a virtual game. There's a lot of unseen things here, and that's one of them. So you go into your heart, and you feel that love, and you remember that lover, even as they're standing before you. You close your eyes. You look at the sight inside, the memory there, and let that carry you forward past any anxiety you might have. And then open your eyes and look at what's before you and see that lover in physical form, beginning to develop right before your eyes, the same way a picture does when you put it in the developer, in that old-fashioned way of making photographs. You know, this is like the experience of many lifetimes. So that's what we're here preparing you for. And that is to return to the radiant love, the life that we've always known to exist, but didn't know where it was. Felt lost and alone. Chose this experience for ourselves. And now we go back. Baby, haven't lost it when it's found again. You hang on, you appreciate it. You go to that place inside. You live it because you love it. And there'll be anxiety no more. None of this decrepitness. Meaning, break down social order inside of yourself, out in the world, whatever. None of this crime and corruption, hate, death, and fear of death. Gee whiz. I mean, it's hard to imagine. And the only way you can really believe it or know it, because belief's just going to take you someplace you may or may not want to be. So we're talking about a place where you know it, where you experience it. Just like when you start to experience it, what we call the spirit realm, and things start flowing through you and you start seeing things inside and outside. I mean, you begin to realize the reality of it. It's like that. But spirit, the thing we call spirit, is the reality. That's, again, where we live. That's where we truthfully are, creating this experience for ourselves so that we can experience the love, the divine love, the radiant love that is light, and appreciate and embrace. Hey, we've known this journey before. It's been different. But we're actually experiencing it from the past and the future all at the same time. That's why these things are accessible. Time itself is not linear. It's not a straight line. It's a computer bank. It's a memory. It's held there, future and past. It's right there. And in present, we can redesign any of it. Now that's a pretty huge leap from where you thought we were going, isn't it? But that's a vortex place, where the two worlds are joining, and time is not an extended thing you have to go through anymore. It's something you can see visibly from above, and pick and choose the moments you want to go back and re-experience and see, look forward and see the dynamic of any change you might create in that moment, and then change it, redirect it. Now do you see why we've allowed ourselves to go through such a dark and ugly thing and experience the difficulty of living in a harsh world that loves us? I mean, you know why we've chosen it. It's because after it's over, we can undo it. We go right back to the beginning and create it the way we would really have it. So anything we've done here in a way is kind of undone. So the karmic experience of it, that which they call burden, becomes a blessing. And you relieve yourself of that load. You're no longer this little jackass packing a burden. You're packing no load. You're not a dumb little jackass. You're a great little heart. A person of great love, experience, wealth, glamour, truth, heart, We're everything and all of that, each and every one of us. And we live in a very, very flexible reality. So in a sense, the visible proof of what I've just told you, the rearrangement of your perspective of time, is coming to you in more or less a physical form here in this reality. You know? There is a group of us that saw one projected future and didn't want to go there. That one seemed like it might lead to an implosion of the whole thing and crash the game. You know, couldn't do it. So we came back from a place well before any impending doom, as you would call it, to this point in time, the last 50, 100 years, and extending forward to whatever there is left of it, to make a little mid-course correction. And there was a risk, a gamble involved in doing so. But we've done it. We've seen the timeline shift. It happened on August 22nd in 1994. August 22, 1994. That's when the shift happened. But what that means is we got to that 100th heart that chose awakening for itself despite the agony of the deadly darkness kicking around. You know what I mean? Yeah. And when that happened, then the outcome was assured. Now, the distance between here and there, again, is really flexible. The outcome is waiting for us in the not too distant future. And that's the evidence that I'm talking about, that you're going to see in the visible world. Well, the outcome goes beyond that. That's just one step towards the outcome. But that is the evidence. That's when beings and energies begin to show up in a visible sense. And you learn what time really was. And then create what time is. And choose how you will experience it. That's the paradise place. In a sense, you dwell in the nest of love. Of course, you're extending outward and experiencing always. Because that's how we learn to appreciate our truth. Learn to appreciate all that's life given us. Man, do we ever love it. Man. So be ready, kids. I mean, you know, I'm not here to try to frighten you or raise fears, but, you know, there's some good things coming down the pike that are really phenomenal. And there are those that are messing with them and trying to turn it in a little different direction, you know, and make it happen in another way. Well, more power to them, because they ain't doing it. Power to their love, their heart, their chosen part of the experience, the rough roles they've played. Guess what, buddies? Your mind's about to change, because your heart's going to burst open in a good sort of way. And you ain't going to be able to love in the way you've loved in the past. Just speaking to these boys of darkness, ladies and gentlemen, both really, yeah. But mostly guys. You know, that's the reptilian energy. It's real male. Kind of a useful thing in a way, but kind of like way too dominant. You know. The power of the penis, my rear. It doesn't work that way, you know. But, of course, in order to know that, you got to do that, and then you're done with it. You go back and undo it, and you don't be that anymore. And that's what we're here to tell you, friends, or at least part of it. You know, in fact, a good part of it, a lot of it. And I hope some of us are beginning to catch on. I know I'm feeling better today than I have in a while. Things are just rolling through me. Went up to a little place they called Shumi yesterday to experience a little of the Japanese culture, and man, it was like, wow, a good 30 minutes well spent, I'll tell you. And normally I just like avoid the religions, but I'm free here and open and don't belong to anything or anybody other than that what's in my heart already. You know? Pain's in the obligation you feel. When you can release yourself from obligation and just do it because you love to do it, it's a whole different paradigm. Many of us have been working toward that, even in the ruggedness of the past physical reality in the last 50, 60 years, whatever, you know. There's been a big movement this way. And that's what's kind of carrying the rest of humanity along. So hang on to your hat, kids. It gets real fun from here. So we'll be back with you shortly. See what else the universe has in store for us, you know. Check it out. Sauerkraut. Oh my. Love ya.